Okay, so we're so privileged to have Chantelle here to do a boxing seminar for us today. Okay, former Kickboxing World Champion, former Thai Boxing World Champion. Is she going red? And current, or former, should I say, Super Lightweight, Undisputed World Champion in boxing. She's been through all the different disciplines. She's the only boxer, bet she doesn't even know this, she's the only boxer, male or female, to ever, in 3 consecutive fights, fight in an undisputed world title fight against an undisputed champion, a reigning undisputed champion, which is crazy. She's the only fighter to hold a professional win over the great Katie Taylor. She needs no introduction, obviously, but you all know what you're here to do today. But Chantelle, El Capo Cameron. Let's give her a big round.
So thank you for all coming today, and it's lovely to meet you all, and I hope you're going to enjoy the session and the meet and greet after as well. Spread out and do some shadow boxing to begin with. We're going to do 4 rounds, and it's just to move around a bit, shadow boxing. So you want a loose hand, but also make it realistic fist, okay? So just move it around and don't stand still either shadow boxing. So when you shadow box, you want to try and make it realistic. So your hands up and you're moving. So you're throwing your shot, but you're always moving as well. So even in a small space, you still want to make it as realistic as you can. Even if you use your feet, it's just a tiny step. So as long as you're out of range, just a tiny step there, and that's a defense or pivots, okay? So in boxing, everything's small. Some people overcomplicate things, but it's basics. Basics get you to the top, where if you start overcomplicating things, then you're just making it harder work for yourself. So to make it simple, just simple steps, pivots, and slips, tiny movements. So when you slip a punch, all you gotta do is literally that. You don't need to go all the way down there. It's pointless because you're all the way down there and you've got to come back up. So all you got to do is just there. So you want to mix it up. You always want to go high to low. So even in kickboxing as well, you always want to go to the body and then to the head. So you mix it up. If you just headhunt, then you become more readable. Whereas if you go to the body, that's where you can tire people out and you're more likely to get a stoppage. So make sure you do more body shots and mix your combinations up. So uppercut to the head, then the body shot, then maybe uppercut again. So use your imagination to mix things up. So throw punches in bunches. So if you do 2 punches, maybe add on an extra 2. Okay? So last round, let's go. Okay, so jab is your backhand on your jaw and your front hand in front. And with a jab, keep your elbow, it's going to lock straight out, okay? And your shoulder comes up, so it's a defense. And if a backhand was to come, you're already defense because your chin's down and it's covering the shoulder, okay? So the first one, it's going to jab, okay? It's going to do 10 jabs, and then you can do double jab. So you jab, you lock it out, and then you step and jab again. But you take your head out of the way, okay? So 10 normal jabs. And then 10 jabs, the first one. So you jab, and then as you step, your head moves out as a defense. There, okay? So you always take your head off the line, because otherwise you become a punch bag. So 10 normal jabs, locking out, making them all count, and then 10 double jabs, jab, step, move your head, okay? So 10 and 10, and then you're going to swap over. Okay, to begin with, it may seem boring, but it is basic, okay? And making sure that when you step with a double jab, is both feet go. So you push off with your back leg, so there and there, okay? Again, small steps. And make sure the pads are realistic again. So in front of you, and just put a little tap in. You don't need to throw your arm into it, just a little tap. Just to make sure things are realistic, okay? Sometimes people like to put their elbows out, but then you're not going to get as much power and you're going to get hit to the body a lot more easier. So any sport you do in combat sport, you always want to make sure you're hard to hit. and keeping your chin down, and you're going to absorb shots a lot better, and keeping your shoulders high, because then it's also a defense. Okay, so you do jab first, sorry, that one. So you're going to do jab, and you're going to switch to backhand. Okay, but you see there, so if you watch my feet first, it's just a small transition. So it's a jab, and I'm going to twist, but I'm going to pull my jabbing hand back to my chin, and there, okay? So it's going to be like 1, 2, okay? But then you're going to start off doing that, so you're going to do rounds this time, so it'll be 3-minute rounds, and then we're going to swap over. But you're going to mix it up, so you're going to do jab, backhand, slip, over your shoulder, and then backhand again, okay? So it'll be 1, 2, slip, backhand, and then you're going to move off. So you move around. So as soon as you've done that combo, you've got to move your feet and get a different angle. So you've got to make it a little bit, so it's 1, 2, slip, backhand, move. Okay, so moving around, making sure that your shoulders are up and your chin's down. So it's a defense as well. And lock your elbows out, so they're always locked out. And why you lock them out is, if you do half a shot like this, if you get hit like that, and also if your opponent pushes, you've got no power in it. You're fighting against a bent arm, but if you lock your shots out, you're going nowhere. So the backhand, if it's half a shot and you push, there's nothing in it. It's like it's a half a shot, but if you lock out and you push, and it doesn't matter where you go, you're going nowhere because your base is underneath you. So your bum's underneath you, your legs are set, and you're going nowhere, okay? So that's why it's so important that you lock your arms fully out. So you fully lock your arms, and that way you get stronger base and stronger punches. Okay, so it'll be 2-minute rounds, and then we'll swap over. From the jab, everything flows. So this time, you're going to do jab, backhand, you're going to hook to the head, and then backhand, okay? So jab, backhand, hook, backhand, slip, backhand, okay? So remember, every single time you throw a punch, you don't want to be a punch bag. So, and it's fighting, so nobody's going to stand there and let you hit them. They're going to respond. So that's why if you do a combination, you always put one defense in at least. So you slip and then you return the favour. So it'll be jab, backhand, hook, backhand, slip, backhand. Okay? So you let it flow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, slip, backhand. And then move off again. And then throw the combo. 1, 2, oh, I messed up. 1, 2, hook, backhand, slip, backhand. And move off. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip, backhand. Okay? So always slip and always move after your combination. Don't stand still. Remember the straight shots, lock out. And with the hook as well, so there's a short hook and a long hook, but because your arm's already at reach, it'll be a short hook. So with a short hook, you always make sure your elbow comes through and the 2 biggest knuckles, and your elbow finishes in front of your eyes. So when you throw a hook, you want to be looking at your elbow. So it's just underneath your eyes, but it's in front of you. And you twist your hips into it. So it could be jab, backhand, hook, and you let your hips twist so the power is generated from the front leg. Hook, backhand, okay? So we'll come round and help as well with the hook. So if you read a ball, you're just going to get countered. So this time you're going to do a feint. So you're going to shimmy, then you're going to do jab, uppercut, hook, okay? So it's quite a long hook because you're out of range. And also in fighting, doesn't matter, boxing, kickboxing, distance is always key. So as much as your jab's the key, it's your distance as well. So you want to make sure that you've got the reach, but you're also out of reach from your opponent. So you want to make sure that I can get my shots off, but I'm also not smothering my work, so then my opponent can hit me. So you can be an inside fighter or you can be an outside fighter, but if your distance is wrong, you're going to make everything hard work, okay? So your distance and your footwork is the most important, as long with your jab. So from here, you're going to do feint jab, jab, uppercut, hook, step off, your opponent misses, and you're going to crack him with a right hand, okay? So, because your pad holder probably won't get the pad there in time, don't hit your partner, but just place it there, just so you know what you're doing, but don't actually hit him, okay? So it'll be feint, jab, uppercut, hook, come off, backhand. And what happens then, your opponent can only go forward or they've got to reset themselves, and it'll take them longer where you've already got your shots off and you're gone. So as soon as you landed your shots, so feint, jab, uppercut, hook, there, backhand, I'm off anyway, and your opponent's got to find you, okay? So you always want to you want to kind of embarrass your opponent. So you throw your shots, you move, you hit, and you're gone. Don't stand around to wait to be hit. Okay, so show you one more time. So little feint, make them think, jab, uppercut, hook, step off, backhand, you're gone, okay? With the uppercut, everyone pulls it back, you don't need to put it back, okay? So again, everything's tight, so your elbow's in, so jab, your uppercut comes from your elbow, you're just gonna use your hips, there. Okay, from comes from back foot, then your hook comes off, step, backhand, okay? So uppercut, keep your elbow tight, and just lift it. So dip and lift. So with an uppercut, you just gotta think in your head. So jab, you dip, and you lift. So small dip, there. So if a jab comes, it's gonna go over, and you're lifting it up. So you always think about what can come back as well, okay? So feint, jab, uppercut, hook, step off, backhand, go. Always come behind the jab, so it'll be from there, it'll be jab, and I'll probably throw a hook, and the hook is just basically to put someone off balance. It's not even a punch really, but you're going to throw it properly, but you're not really putting power into it. So it'll be jab, touch them, so they're thinking about the head shot, and then you're going to step in and body shot, okay? So when you throw the body shot, just put the pads there, and before you get really into it, make sure that you're both finding the shot so no one gets hit with a body shot, okay? So jab, hook, step, body shot. And again, you see my legs from there to the body shot, all the weight's on my front leg, and I'm gonna twist and bring it up, but my backhand is still on my jaw, and my shoulder's coming up with it as well, so it's still a defense. Okay, so jab, hook, step, body shot, and then take a step out, backhand. So remember, you never stay there. So if you throw your body shot, and if you stay there, you're gonna get hit. So you're gonna take a step back out, and just gonna meet him with a backhand, and then move off, okay? So jab, hook, step, body shot, step out, backhand, move off again, and then start again, okay? So we'll come round and help. Where you get the same power from just being there anyway. So you don't need to put it back at all. And that's why with the uppercut, everyone pulls it back. So everyone thinks if you go like that, you're gonna get more power, but you're not. Because like, you go from there, you're not using your legs. Yeah, you're going square, yeah. So when you're doing your hook, so if you're doing your hook and I seen you go square, I'm just gonna go straight for you. Yeah. And then as soon as I go for your chest, you're gonna fall backwards because your balance. Yeah. So when you're side on, like your balance is there and like you can move more on your solid, but when you're square, you're gonna go backwards. Is you got it's gonna be so jab, and it's a long hook, and then you're gonna step in. So this time you're gonna launch. The powerful shot is the backhand. Okay, so this is where you're gonna make the backhand count to go straight through. So it's in here. It's jab, hook. It's gonna be backhand, and you're gonna hurt them. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna step in again, and your pant's gonna step back. Do backhand, body shot. Okay. So from here, so jab, hook. So jab, hook. Backhand, gonna step, backhand, body shot. and then lift up, uppercut on the end, just to finish them, okay? So, jab, hook, backhand, step, backhand, body, uppercut, move off. Okay, everyone got that? Do you want to see it again? Okay, so remember you as well, you elbows it in, your chin's down, jab, long hook, backhand, step, backhand, body, uppercut, twist. Jab, hook, backhand, step, backhand, hook, uppercut, move off. Okay, last one. And the uppercut is just to finish them, so you're just going to knock their head back. When we're doing body sparring, just respect who you're working with. So you don't need to be trying to punch anyone up here. It's like you're all friends and it's friendly, okay? So you're gonna do body sparring, but don't actually be trying to break anyone's ribs, okay? So it's just practice. So you've got to look for the target, okay? So don't just be throwing shots pointlessly, because it's wasted. So you've got to be using your brain still. So with body sparring, you're still using your brain and you've got to look for your shots, okay? So you've got to score, and obviously everyone knows the scoring system, no below the belt and no above the shoulders, okay? So you've got to do feints, you've got to look for the shot, and then if you get a clean shot, then your partner gets 1 point, okay? So you both got to say if you agree on it for a point, okay? So you're moving around, feints, so a shot to me. Okay, so feinting, and also with body sparring, you can hit the arms. So it depends on who you're working with and how they feel about it. You can kind of dead the arms. So you dead the arms and then get your body shot, okay? So be thinking about what you're doing and don't just be throwing shots for the sake of it. So use it as if you are actually looking in and trying to get the shots, clean shots, okay? But with your partner, just work it out with each other. So if you don't mind getting a dead arm, then get a dead arm. If you don't, then just say to him, ease up a bit. Okay, so you've got to talk to each other. When you're doing body sparring, make sure you're thinking. So look for your shot and aim for it. So think about what you're doing. Everything you learned today now is you're going to put into shadow boxing, and obviously you learned combinations, footwork, defense. So with the shadow boxing now, it's got to be more head movement, footwork. So you're going to think about everything you've done. So sometimes when you're fighting, people just go in there and just think you can just stand there and have a trade-off. But if someone's going to be bigger and stronger than you, you're going to come unstuck. Okay, so you also got to think. So you have to think about where you're throwing your shots, maybe what defense they're going to have, what attacks they're going to have. So you have to think as much as you're going to throw. So you can be a come forward fighter, but you have to be a smart come forward fighter, otherwise you're going to get found out. So you could be a counter boxer, come forward boxer, but you always need to be looking for your shots and thinking about also not getting hit, because otherwise you become a punch bag and no one wants to be a punch bag. Okay, so the last 2 rounds, now obviously making sure you're aware of your space. but just putting everything you learn together and putting it all into one, okay? It's going to do 2 rounds to 2 minutes shadow boxing. Okay, ready? Let's go.
So what we're going to do, we'll do a group picture while you're all sweating, proof that we've done some work today, in front of the sweaty mirrors. And then you just get a drink and we'll get everybody just sit down on the mats and we'll do some question and answer before we do our meet and greet finish. But once again, massive round of applause for Chantelle.
Do you think that my mindset is more important or as the same as physical strength in boxing?
Mindset, I'd say, is more important.
More important?
More important. I think you can have all the talent in the world, but if your mindset's wrong, then you're going to probably come unstuck. So for me, I think your mindset is a lot more important. I think if your mind's strong, then everything comes off that. So for me, the mindset is the biggest. Anything I've got to do to win, I've got to do. So I just tunnel vision, and whatever it takes to win, I'm going to have to do it. But it's quite dark place.
Why are you more passionate about boxing?
Good question. So when I left Neil, I was actually heartbroken because I never wanted to box. It was never in my vision. So most people in boxing, they say, my dream is always to be an Olympian, a pro boxer, a world champion, but it never was for me. So I can't lie to people and say, I always wanted to be an Olympian, or I wanted to be a pro boxer, I wanted to be undisputed. I didn't. It was never in my interest. But women's boxing come into the Olympics, and it was kind of Neil who kind of kicked me out of the gym. He didn't really kick me out, but kicked me out, and it made sense because I was good with my hands, and that's where the journey went from. So tough question because I haven't been kickboxing for years and probably can't kick at all now. So it was a hard decision at the time, but I'm very fortunate. Boxing has changed my life, and it's given me and my family, and it's put me in a very fortunate position. So that's a really good question. I actually don't know. I've had so many fights. So I went into the amateurs and I already had the experience. I kind of been in front of crowds fighting. I've done it all, so I had all the experience. So maybe that put me ahead of some of the other people where they were just strictly boxing, and I went into the unknown, and I would have been there and done it. So it could have paid off for me. It's a question I don't know, really. But boxing for now, I'd say. So I was 10 years old when I had my first fight, and my first fight, it was kind of rushed. So I was in a kickboxing gym in Northampton, and I was always quite a handful at 10. I just loved fighting. So my first ever kickboxing session, I ended up sparring, which I don't know how Neil does it, but you probably wouldn't be sparring. But I kind of went to the gym, and the instructor said, glove up and spar, and I just absolutely loved it. So I think within like 2 weeks I had my first fight, and I got absolutely beaten up, and it was terrible. I was crying my eyes out. The girl was a lot bigger than me, she was older, and she absolutely brutalised me, and my dad just said to the instructor, like, keep me in there, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. At the time I thought to myself, why is my dad doing that? Is letting me get absolutely battered. And it was the best thing that ever happened because it never happened again. Even to this day, I've never been beaten up like that because it completely changed my mindset, and I knew it would never happen. And I was always seeking that girl that done it to me. And she ended up quitting when she was like 16 because of college and whatnot, and I was only 10, but she was always my target. And I think even to this day, that's always been my mindset. I've always had a target, and I've chased that person down until I got my hands on them, but unfortunately...
That That wasn't the reason she quit. She quit because you were out.
yeah, I was chasing her. So yeah, it's 10 years old.
How many years have you been boxing for?
Boxing, maths here. So I'm 33 now and I started boxing when I was 18. Maths. 15 years, very long time.
What was your hardest fight?
So my hardest fight, everyone would expect me to say Katie Taylor because she's classed as the pound for pound best female boxer, but it's still to this day it's Mary McGee. She was my toughest fight and she was that fight where it really changed everything for me, where I thought I need to work harder because I've become complacent, and complacency is the worst habit anyone can pick up on because you get complacent and you get beat. And I beat Mary McGee in a unification fight, and it was the first time where I thought, wow, I'm so complacent and I need to, it was kind of a kick in the bum for me because I thought, I'm getting complacent here and I'm going to end up getting beaten if I keep this mentality. So me versus Mary McGee, I really had to take my career into a whole different level then, because I thought I never want to get into them rounds where I'm struggling like that again, because my strength is my work rate, but that fight I really felt the pace. But it was also the best thing that ever happened because since then I've been in my 10-round fights and not been tired. So it was one of them fights for me that did really change my career.
What fight made you the most happiest?
My most happy was beating Katie Taylor in her homecoming because I really dampened the party.
Who would you most like to fight now?
Oh, Katie Taylor, I would love my revenge on her because it's 1-1, it's the only trilogy that made sense, and I don't know what she's playing at. Obviously she went for the money, but me and her have got, it's a bit personal now. I beat her, she beat me. She had everything in her favour, and then as soon as she did get the belts, she grabbed and run, and even to this day it eats me up, and hopefully that before she does retire, we settle the score. If I didn't have the mindset for that fight, I would have crumbled, and it's not even being arrogant. I think 90% of people would have stepped into that arena, and if you were there, you would have seen and heard it was horrendous. I believed in myself, and I knew that I had to upset the party. So I think it's all about making sure that you believe in yourself, because if you believe in yourself, that's all really that matters, and block the noise out. It's just noise. So if you are in a away fight or going into someone's home, just block the noise out. It's just noise, it's nothing. And then when you're in the ring, it's just one-on-one. They can't fight for you. So for me, it was just tunnel vision, relaxing, enjoying it, and kind of ignoring the noise because it's irrelevant. It's not going to win you a fight. The nerves are good. So I suffer terribly with my nerves, and even to this day, there's no recipe for it. I can't say to you, oh, you'll get over it, or experience, it's going to get better, because it's not. That's just the truth. It's not. To this day, I've been boxing for years and years, been around the world, boxed on the biggest stages, but I'm always nervous, and it doesn't matter where I'm boxing. If it's a small arena, big arena, I still get nervous, and I get nervous for sparring. And it's crazy because when I work with coaches, they say, like, how can you get nervous for sparring when I've accomplished boxing? But I do, because it's just me, I think. But I think you got to use nerves as good energy. So if you're not nervous, you should be worried because you're too confident, and confidence gets arrogance, and again, that can be your downfall. So if you are nervous, good, embrace it, and like use that in your stomach as fuel, and it's going to fire you up. So for me, nerves are always a blessing, because I know them nerves are going to make me good on the night. And if I wasn't nervous, I probably shouldn't be fighting, because then I'd think I'm not going into this with a good mindset. And second question, I've not actually watched the fight back with Katie Taylor because it was just a horrible night. Everything went wrong for me. I can't say I won, I can't say I lost. I did think it was a draw when I was in there, but again, the noise was just, it was so loud that I was bleeding. She was frustrating me, the referee was frustrating me, everyone was annoying me. And it's just one of them where hopefully if I do get the trilogy, I'll have to watch it back, but I'll never let her hold me again and make sure she headbutted me, I'll headbutt her back or kick her. In the amateurs, I wasn't a great amateur. I done well, I was on Team GB, missed out narrowly on the Olympic Games in Rio. And again, that was another obstacle because I should have really been at the Olympics, but Olympic boxing is very politics, and I beat the gold medalist, silver medalist, bronze medalist multiple times, but I just didn't qualify. And it's just one of them where at the time it was like, oh, my world had ended, I didn't want to box again, and it was really tough. But then everything happens for a reason, and then pro boxing became something, and it was actually Katie Taylor and Clarissa Shields. So as much as now I'm not a fan of Katie, she was my role model and I did look up to her, and she did open up the doors for women's boxing. It was kind of amateur boxing then was a chance of becoming an Olympian, go to the Olympics, and thought your life would change for good, but it didn't work out for me. But luckily went pro, won world titles, and my life changed there, so it all played out for me in the end. It's a journey. Keep listening to your coach and keep practicing, and maybe shadow boxing in the mirror, because then you can see for yourself things you're doing wrong. And if you're not looking in the mirror, like, you may find it a bit awkward, but at least you can see what you're doing then as well. And then you can see like if you're lifting your elbows, your feet are a bit too far apart. So just keep persevering. With kickboxing as well, a lot. I actually 20 or 30. I've actually lost some, which is really bad. So my advice would be, if you're young, doesn't matter what age you are, make sure you keep everything, because I've got so many belts that I've lost along the way, which I wish I did have because they're memories. So medals, trophies, belts, make sure you keep them all safe, because one day you're gonna want them in your unit or just as memories, but I've lost a lot, so luckily I've got these.
How many hours a day do you train even outside of camp?
So between 2 or 3 hours a day, so it depends. I don't, sorry, I wish I was, I like coaching people, but I'm just so busy. But one day I probably will, and I'm not having my own career, but I'm just so busy at the moment.
Why do you want to have one UFC fight before you retire?
So, a very good question. So I want to have a UFC fight to say I've done it.
I'll go on. Any regrets?
Yeah, plenty of regrets. The GB setup, I think, ruins a lot of boxers. I think you're Monday to Thursday there, you always got to be on 5% of your body weight, and I think it does damage people's lives, and there's a lot of injuries, they get you through injuries. So if I could turn back the clock, I probably would have had more for life outside boxing, because I was very religious about being in the gym, dieting, putting hard work in, which is great because that's how you become a champion, but you do also need a life away from it, because otherwise it can eat you up and it can make you pretty miserable. And people probably think that's the wrong thing to say, but for me personally, as a pro, it's been good to have a balance, because I think balance is important. You should be dedicated, you should be disciplined, but you also got to remember it's a sport, enjoy it, have fun. Otherwise it becomes a job, and as soon as it becomes a job, walk away, because you're in it for the wrong reason. So my biggest regret was Team GB is giving up my whole life for it and becoming such a hermit with boxing. It made me very sad and miserable, and I regret that.